Welcome back to our weekly market wrap-up. Equity benchmarks surged after 4 weeks of losses, driven by India's strong 6.2% GDP growth in Q3 FY25 and rising GST collections, boosting investor confidence. So, stay tuned, and by the end of this video, we'll unpack the key drivers behind these gains and what lies ahead. This week, Sensex rose by 1.6% and Nifty 50 gained 1.9%. The mid-cap climbed 3.4%, while the small-cap jumped 5.9%. These movements reflect investor optimism fueled by strong domestic economic data, including GDP growth and increased GST collections, despite global market concerns. Let's take a look at this week's key economic updates. India's GDP grew 6.2% in Q3 FY25, up from 5.6% in Q2, driven by strong consumption demand, with full-year growth estimated at 6.5%. The fiscal deficit stood at 74.5% of the annual target by January, reaching 11.7 lakh crore. GST collections rose 9.1% YoY to 1.8 lakh crore in February, reflecting robust domestic demand. Meanwhile, core sector output growth slowed slightly to 4.6% in January, from 4.8% in December. The manufacturing PMI declined to 56.3 in February from 57.7 in January, indicating slower expansion, while services PMI jumped to 59.0, driving overall economic activity. As a result, the composite PMI rose from 57.7 to 58.8, highlighting stronger growth in the service sector despite a slowdown in manufacturing. Globally, China's Caixin manufacturing PMI rose to 50.8 in February, marking its fifth straight month of expansion, while the services PMI climbed to 51.4. The government set a 2025 GDP growth target of 5% and lowered inflation expectations to 2%. However, exports grew just 2.3% YoY, missing the 5% forecast due to higher U.S. tariffs. In the U.S., weak economic data pushed the Atlanta Fed's GDP now tracker to dash 1.5%, fueling recession concerns. Meanwhile, the ISM services PMI rose to 53.5, and jobless claims dropped to 221,000, signaling a strong labor market. Among this week's top gainers, GOTCNC rose 21.3%, boosted by technical factors. India Cements surged 20.4%, driven by a positive sector outlook and strong performance. Craftsman Automation gained 19.6%, benefiting from recent momentum and regulatory attention, ASM Stage 1. On the downside, among the losers, we had BSE fell 19.1% due to concerns over weak daily turnover in exchanges. MCX declined 13.2% as weak commodity prices, especially gold futures, and cautious market sentiment impacted trading. FACT dropped 11.8% due to bearish market sentiment and sector-specific challenges. In the unlisted space, Nayara Energy approved a buyback of 2.5 crore shares at 731 per share on March 3, 2025, providing an exit opportunity for minority shareholders. NSE ranked second globally in equity trades with 86.1 crore transactions in January. Apollo Green Energy plans to form a subsidiary and invest 500 crore to build a 1 gigawatt renewable energy portfolio. Other high-interest unlisted companies include MSCI, NSE, Apollo Green Energy, Farmesi, CSK, NSDL, and Tata Capital. That wraps up this week's market highlights. Here's what to watch in the week ahead. Next week, market direction will be driven by U.S. tariff policies, FII flows, and earnings stability. While domestic fundamentals remain strong, global risks may keep markets volatile. The stock market will be closed on the 14th of March for Holi. Key data releases include industrial production and CPI inflation on the 12th of March, WPI inflation on the 13th of March, and trade balance on the 14th of March. U.S. JOLTS, job openings will be released on the 11th of March. U.S. inflation data for February will be published on the 12th of March, followed by U.S. producer price inflation on the 13th of March. The Michigan consumer sentiment, preliminary data for March, will be released on the 14th of March. The US Fed's policy decision on the 20th of March will also be closely watched. That's all for today. Subscribe to Ticona Capital for more insights and wealth-building opportunities from the themes of the decade. Visit us at ticonacapital.smallcase.com to explore thematic investments in the Amrit Kaal. Don't forget to like, comment and share. See you next week.